Hello folks, and welcome to back to my videos. The fitness videos are back. There's going to be a series on this channel of 10 videos. They're a taster series. If you like those sort of videos, you'll get more of those. But there's also going to be a secondary channel, Hesketh Fitness. We are a fitness company with a difference. We do our own, we're going to be making our own supplements. We're going to be making our own guides to advice. We're going to be doing training and hopefully opening our own gym. So I've always had, I was always going to open a fitness company for one of my imaginary friends who was into fitness. Andy Johnson, and I thought that, you know, I thought, do you know what? You know, I mean, the time has come for me to open up a fitness company, but it was to help people with sugar addiction. Now, that's one of our things that we do. It's one of the main things we do. We're slowing up the company, but we are opening little things. We are getting ready. The thing we're doing a business plan. I've already got a team behind me, a team of imaginary people. But I've got some real people too, and there's. The thing with this company is it's a community-driven company. So it's driven by the community as well. That's the most important thing, that the community drives this company. It's like, you know, yes, I'm the one leading this thing, but I think the community is the one that, it's like they're behind the helm, almost. It's like you're going along the journey, along the river, and suddenly somebody decides where they want to go. It's like each person takes the helm. It's that sort of company. But we give you the lifestyle that you want, and I want to help myself with sugar addiction and battling sugar addiction. And if you think sugar addiction isn't real, then see our Facebook page, facebook.com/Hesketh Fitness. There is a whole load of links going on there these past few weeks from other sources of research where I've found. Anyways, enough of that. And I'm now going to talk to you about one of my imaginary friends called Charles, and how our relationship got on after Arnside Road. Now, I'll link below the story of how I got kicked out of Arnside Road. This is after Arnside Road, so this is like how Mind Mob began. So, I will do a story on how Mind Mob began properly as a story, but I've got to talk about Mind Mob because it's very important. So, first of all, I've got to talk about our old company. So, Charles and me met we knew each other before the company started, but we didn't know each other properly. And the company started in, we were put in an office together. Our granddad just put us in an office together, me and an imaginary person in a room together, and just said, get on with it, basically. And we closed the door, and that was that. Or maybe it wasn't. So I met him through my company. I met him there properly. I got to know him. And yes, my step-granddad created Charles. That's another story which we'll tell a story here. So my other imaginary friend, Tom, basically cheesed off my granddad. And so apparently Grandad went to Wales and picked up Charles, who was on a bench, and apparently they came back from Llandudno, and that's where Charles, he was staying with a friend at the time, and I basically took him under his wing. Well, as such. We actually became friends. It's not really good, really, working with your friends, because, yes, I tried to sack him a few times, but we did become friends, and we got friends to the point where, yeah, we had a few rows and stuff, but we actually got friends outside the company. So we had, inside the company, I was the boss and he was the salesman. And then outside the company, we were really two good friends. So you can imagine how that would go. In the company, we'd be working at the desk, and, it really, really worked out. And then at the end of the day, and it got to the point where we were really supporting each other. And bear in mind, I started the company when I was in, I was coming to the end of year 7. I hadn't even started year 8. So now the company went through some amazing times, me and Charles. We had some amazing adventures through the whole time of the company. And he met a woman, got married, and he decided to keep working for me. Our relationship as friends grew, even through the most difficult times. We would, when it started, I think, in the early years. So in the early years of Builders Offices, that was our company. When work finished, because we had to go in the office even for private time, we'd blast cassettes out. And sometimes we'd have some bad days, and sometimes we'd have some good days. And then the sleepovers happened, and then I left school, went to college. I took a toy phone to college, and I would ring Charles on the weekends and stuff. So me and Charles, we would talk all the time. Then I left college, came back, and we were even best of friends. We were best friends, never ever break friends. But we were great work colleagues too. He had the best ideas, and I liked his ideas, and because up to this point, he'd gone from being a salesman to being a builder. He'd go out and build stuff. He would go on the ladders and stuff. And then the company had changed, but it was like outside the office things were very fast paced. In the office things were very slow pace. It couldn't happen like that. So we had an agency to weigh things up and all that good stuff. And then the castle came in, and you know where we went from that. After me getting us kicked out of Arnside Road, being an absolute jerk as things happened, just because I wanted my phone charger from the bedroom and trying to slam my granddad out the bedroom, which I'm not proud of. We started at Neil's house, and there the office was installed within a good few months. I think it had been a year. The company changed. We were a building company, then we stopped for a bit, then we were a car company, then we were a computer company, and then we were back to being the building company again. Charles and me weren't getting on. we weren't. Yeah, let's just face it. Charles would come in a right grouch, and I'd be like, what the hell are you in a grouch for? Oh, well, someone's making me do this. Why isn't the order out? You know, we were slamming phones down all the time. We were arguing. There was every time we were in that office, there were arguments. They weren't, outside of the office, we were friends. We were best friends, never ever break friends. But in the office, we were, Charles, you've done this, how dare you? You can imagine how this is playing out. And even though Charles is my imaginary friend, it's got to the point where we've never, because in Arnside Road, we weren't allowed to get our frustration out. Jack was always breathing down our necks. So we were now in an office where we had so much freedom to the point where frustration explodes. It's like we had a bomb in our back pocket, the metaphorical bomb, and it had been let out. And we were really letting off steam to the point where we were no longer friends. And that is completely unhealthy. It did upset me for a long time because, my mother has a book on business relationships, and I was married to my business. This was when we got to business divorce. This is when I was like divorcing, it's like when you divorce a wife and you're just like, out the door, woman, be gone with you. It was like that with the building business. And I have another building business, but I don't really feel love for that. And it's like going back. I love the wife again, or I'm friends with the wife again. But the thing with the building business, what you've got to remember is, I keep dipping my toes back in it every now and then. I keep dabbling in it. I'll walk around with my toolbox, or my drill, and I love my drill, and I'll be drilling things and stuff, and because I'll pretend to help Dad or Mummy, and so anyway, going back, so the company decided to be, basically Tom had come back now. Tom was my imaginary friend from childhood. He comes back in the picture. It's like, hey man, and suddenly Charles and Tom have a big fallout. Two fallouts. One is behind my back and another's right in front of me, because we had two companies in the same office. We had a building company and a web design company in the same office. Why couldn't we have, two companies in the same office? Well, Charles then took the reins of the building company. I wasn't happy with that. Well, he wasn't happy that I had the web design company. Then me and Tom had an argument. Then I had an argument with everybody. Then I threw everybody out the office. And then I had an argument with Charles here in my bedroom upstairs. And that was a silent argument. We weren't shouting. We weren't raised voices. But it was a conversation. It was like, well, no, you're not listening. Maybe if you had gone back to, why don't you crawl back to Arnside Road? Jack will have you back. So I was being horrible to him, and then he was being horrible to me. And it was like, well, if you hadn't got us thrown out in the first place, maybe we'd have got, la la la. And anyway, this was all going on. It was like we were blaming each other, and it got really, really worse. And I was like, Charles, get out. Please, just don't come see me for a while. And I was literally, I couldn't speak to Charles for a while. We didn't speak to each other for a month. We didn't see each other for a month. That hurt me to the point where I rang him and I said, Charles, just come round for a chat. You don't have, you're not working with me anymore. Just let's be friends. Come on. So Charles, and plus, because we're not in Arnside Road anymore, it's not like I have to go to Arnside Road just to see Charles, or have to arrange for Charles to come round, because that arrangement had happened, because Niels was next door, And it's like, I wanted to see Charles every day, not just when I go to my nan's house. So Charles came around, and now he comes around every day. But we didn't work for each other for a long time. Now he works for the building company, but I don't interfere so much in what he does. I do a lot of office stuff. I do little bits here and there, but it's not like it was. And, you know, the old name's back, builders' offices. So it's back to what it was, but it's not what it was. It's moved forward. And next year he'll be here all the time, and his garage is going to be his hobby, because he struggled with his garage, and you know, he had to go off and do his thing and you know, be a mechanic. But even though Charles is imaginary and he doesn't exist, we've had that horrible moment. We swore at each other. We called each other names. It really got bad. It was terrible. It was worse than thumping the hell out of him. You know, I just like, get out my bedroom, Charles, please, just go. Get out my room and beg her off. And he did. He went downstairs and he got out the house. I didn't see him for a month. Now, you can wave that story. It was just going to be how me and Charles, how we argued and how I fell out with the business. I mean, that's one thing that happens when you're married to a business. When a divorce happens in a business, you start becoming argumentative. I wasn't interested with Charles anymore. I wasn't interested in him. You know, all he wanted to talk about was cars, buildings, wagons, trucks. I wasn't into that. Get out my office, please. I want to talk computers. I want to talk tech. You know, but it's like now, if I talk about computers and tech all the time, it's like I'm at work all the time. You know, I would rather be talking about motorbikes and wagons and trucks, and I'm not. You know, mine and Charles's conversations now are more based on what we do in the day. You know, and sometimes we'll talk about the past and stuff, but it's like he'll talk about the garage and a car that's come in, and like the olden days, we used to talk about buildings and stuff. And I'd say, Charles, what jobs have you done today? And he'd be like, oh, I've been, done this, that, the other, built this thing, gone on the ladders, built that thing. But when we were at the building company, we did start talking about cars. The conversation would draw to cars. So Charles got into cars, and I was into cars too, so we were both into cars, you know, motor cars, and we'd talk about fast cars, you know. Anyway, that's it for this this video. I hope you've really enjoyed it, and join me for the next one.
Mic trigger. Mic lock. Finish recording.